Before this story begins, let me ask you something. Have you ever experienced a moment so uncomfortable, so unexpected, that it changed your relationship with someone forever? Moments like these don't come with warnings. They don't ask permission. And sometimes, they become the turning point that defines trust, growth, and family. If you enjoy real-life emotional stories, deep human experiences, and stories that stay with you long after the video ends, then make sure you subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications, because stories like this are shared here every week. Now, let me tell you a story about a quiet afternoon, a stepmother trying to do the right thing, and a teenage boy learning what understanding really feels like. The afternoon sun spilled gently across the backyard, bathing everything in a soft golden light. It was the kind of sunlight that slowed time, the kind that made ordinary moments feel meaningful without trying. The wooden fence cast long shadows across the grass, and the leaves on the trees barely moved as a warm breeze drifted through the air. Emily stood near the kitchen window, one hand resting against the glass, watching her 16-year-old stepson Ryan. He was outside by himself, tossing a baseball against the old wooden fence. The rhythmic thud catch, throw echoed through the yard. Every now and then his laughter slipped out, light, unguarded, and rare. Emily smiled softly. Those moments didn't happen often. It had been 2 years since she married Mark, Ryan's father. 2 years of learning how to step into a life that already existed long before she arrived. 2 years of trying to find her place without forcing it. Ryan had been polite from the beginning. Respectful. Quiet. He never caused trouble. But he kept a distance, the kind teenagers wear like armor. Short answers. Headphones on. Door half closed. Emily never blamed him. Ryan had lost his mother when he was still young. That kind of loss doesn't disappear. It settles quietly inside a child and teaches them how to guard their heart early. Emily had always told herself, don't rush him. Don't demand closeness. Let it grow naturally. Still, seeing him laugh freely like that, without tension, without walls, made her heart ache in a hopeful way. Something about that afternoon felt different. Maybe it was the light. Maybe it was the calm. Or maybe it was the realization that moments like these didn't come often. Almost without thinking, Emily stepped outside. Need a partner? She called gently. Ryan turned around, surprised. Then he smiled, a real one, and tossed the ball toward her. Sure. She barely caught it, laughing as it nearly slipped through her hands. Still got it, she teased. What started as a simple game turned into something more. They threw the ball back and forth, slowly at first, then with more confidence. Ryan joked when she missed. Emily exaggerated her frustration when his throws were too perfect. For the first time in a long while, there was no awkwardness between them. Just laughter. Just ease. Emily felt her chest warm. This was what she had hoped for. Not forced bonding, not rules or lectures, but moments of shared comfort. After a few minutes, she decided to raise the stakes. Let's see if you can catch this one, she said, throwing the ball higher than before. Ryan lunged forward. His foot slipped on the grass. Emily reacted without thinking, reaching out to steady him, but her own balance failed. They both fell. Hard. Grass pressed against their backs. Air rushed from their lungs. Then laughter exploded from both of them, breathless and genuine. For a moment, everything felt light. Then it changed. Emily felt Ryan stiffen. She sat up quickly, brushing dirt from her jeans, still smiling, until she noticed his expression. His face had gone pale. His eyes were wide with panic. His body tense in a way that made the moment suddenly feel fragile. And then she understood. It was accidental. Unwanted. Unplanned. The unmistakable, embarrassing reaction of a teenage boy caught in a moment he didn't understand himself. Ryan turned away immediately, mortified. Emily's heart dropped. Not with anger, not with shock, but with empathy. She knew. She remembered being young. Confused. Trapped between childhood and adulthood. Caught off guard by a body that reacted before the mind could catch up. She stood up quickly, giving him space. You okay? She asked gently. Ryan nodded without looking up. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. She stopped him softly. Hey. It's okay. Accidents happen. Her voice was calm. Steady. almost maternal. She needed him to understand one thing. Nothing had changed. Still, the air felt heavier now. Different. Let's head inside, she added with a small smile. I think we both earned some lemonade. Inside the kitchen, the silence was louder than before. Emily poured 2 glasses, keeping her movements normal, casual. Ryan sat at the table, shoulders tense, eyes fixed on the surface. You played great out there, she said, sliding the glass toward him. He gave a faint smile, but the embarrassment still clung to him. Emily talked. About school. About Mark's weekend plans. About a movie they might watch together. She treated the moment exactly how she believed it should be treated. As an accident, nothing more. Gradually, Ryan relaxed. When Mark came home later, dinner felt normal. Laughter returned. Ryan seemed okay. But Emily couldn't stop thinking. That night, after the house grew quiet, Emily sat by the window. Raising a teenager was delicate. Being a stepmother made it even more so. One wrong reaction could build walls that might never come down. Ryan didn't need discipline. He needed understanding. The next morning, Emily greeted him like always. Cereal or pancakes? He hesitated. Pancakes, please. Relief washed over her. As she cooked, she noticed him watching her, like he wanted to say something but didn't know how. Finally, he spoke. Thanks for yesterday. For not making it weird. She met his eyes. You don't need to thank me. We all go through things like that. What matters is how we move forward. Something settled between them then. A quiet trust. Days passed. Then weeks. Ryan became quieter again at first, distant, unsure. Emily noticed the avoidance, the rushed exits, the lost humor. One evening, she found him sitting on the porch at sunset. Mind some company? She asked. He nodded. After a long silence, Ryan spoke. I'm sorry about that day. I wasn't trying to make things uncomfortable. Emily stopped him gently. You don't have to apologize. You're not a bad person for being human. He looked up, eyes full of fear. You don't think I'm weird? She shook her head firmly. No. I think you care. And that matters. That conversation lifted something heavy from both of them. From that moment on, things changed. Ryan smiled more. Talked more. Helped around the house. They talked about college. About dreams. About fears. One day, Emily found a note on the counter. Thanks for always being patient with me. I appreciate you. Ryan. She kept it. Years passed. Ryan graduated. Left for college. Came home stronger. Kinda. Confident. One afternoon he sat in the backyard, holding the same baseball. You know, he said. That day used to embarrass me. Now, I see it as the day I learned what kindness looks like. Emily smiled. You taught me something too. That family isn't about perfection. It's about understanding. As he drove away again, Emily felt no regret. Only pride. Because what started as an awkward moment became something beautiful. A lesson in empathy. A bond built on trust. A family formed not by blood, but by grace. The days following that quiet conversation on the porch passed slowly, almost carefully, as if the house itself was trying not to disturb something fragile. On the surface, everything seemed normal. Breakfasts were eaten. Doors opened and closed. Mark went to work. Ryan went to school. But Emily could feel it. Something subtle had shifted. Ryan was polite, just as he always had been. But now there was a new hesitation in him. Not coldness, but caution. He lingered in doorways as if unsure whether to step forward or retreat. His laughter came, but quieter. His smiles were smaller, measured. Emily understood why. Healing doesn't always happen immediately after understanding. Sometimes, it takes time for the heart to believe what the mind has already accepted. She didn't push him. She didn't ask questions. She chose patience. One afternoon, Emily was in the garage organizing old boxes when she heard footsteps behind her. Ryan stood there, hands stuffed into his hoodie pockets. Do you need help? He asked. She smiled. Only if you don't mind dusty memories. He chuckled softly and stepped inside. They worked in silence at first. Sorting tools. Folding old blankets. The quiet between them wasn't awkward, it was thoughtful. Finally, Ryan spoke. Do you ever feel like you're supposed to know how to act, but nobody actually teaches you? Emily paused. All the time, she said honestly. He nodded. Sometimes I feel like I mess things up just by existing. Her heart tightened. She turned toward him fully. Ryan, she said gently, growing up is messy. Nobody gets it right the first time. Or the second. Or even the 10th. He let out a slow breath, like he'd been holding it for years. That conversation didn't fix everything, but it opened a door. Over the next few weeks, Ryan began talking more. Not all at once. Not dramatically. Just naturally. He'd sit at the counter while Emily cooked and ask small questions. About work. About relationships. About mistakes she'd made when she was younger. She answered honestly, without oversharing, without pretending she had everything figured out. That honesty mattered. One evening, while Mark was working late, Ryan stayed downstairs longer than usual. He hovered near the living room, flipping through TV channels without actually watching anything. Something on your mind? Emily asked. He hesitated, then nodded. I'm scared of becoming someone I don't recognize. Emily sat beside him. That fear, she said, means you care about who you're becoming. That's a good thing. He stared at the floor. I don't want to hurt people. She placed a hand over his, briefly, carefully. Then you won't, she said. Because you're learning. And you're trying. That night, Ryan slept easier. Emily could tell. Mark noticed the change too. You've really helped him, he said one night. Emily shook her head. He helped himself. I just listened. Time moved forward the way it always does, quietly and relentlessly. Ryan grew taller. His voice deepened. His confidence came in waves. There were setbacks, of course. Bad days at school. Arguments with friends. Moments when old embarrassment resurfaced. But now, when those moments came, Ryan didn't retreat completely. He talked. And Emily listened. One rainy afternoon, Ryan came home soaked and frustrated. He dropped his bag by the door and sighed heavily. Tough day? Emily asked. He nodded. I messed up a presentation. Froze in front of everyone. She handed him a towel. And you survived, she said gently. He laughed despite himself. Barely. She smiled. Failure isn't the opposite of growth. It's part of it. That sentence stayed with him. Weeks later, Emily found another note. This one taped to the fridge. You make it easier to breathe here. Thanks. Ryan. Her eyes filled with tears. Not because of what happened, but because of what had healed. The real turning point came unexpectedly. One evening, Ryan asked her something that surprised her. Can I call you if I ever need advice about stuff I don't want to talk to Dad about? Emily didn't answer immediately. She chose her words carefully. You can always talk to me, she said. About anything. No judgment. He nodded, relieved. From that moment on, their bond changed completely. Not into something inappropriate. Not into something confusing. But into something strong, grounded, and deeply respectful. Emily wasn't trying to replace his mother. Ryan wasn't trying to fill a void. They were simply choosing trust. Months later, when Ryan stood in the backyard again, older, steadier, he realized something important. That awkward afternoon hadn't broken anything. It had built something. A foundation. One made of empathy instead of shame. And Emily, watching him from the same kitchen window, realized something too. Love doesn't always arrive wrapped in perfect moments. Sometimes it arrives quietly, in how we choose to respond when things go wrong.